Do you have people advising you, like to kind of keep you in check?
Oh yeah, to be honest, this is one thing that I say as well, that the early years of a person's life, especially if you want to get into YouTubing and stuff like that, you have to spend with the ulama.
If you can find a reason to laugh, even in like the darkest moments.
You've made a very good point.
Yeah.
I think that's very powerful. And that's what comedians do. They have a concept that when somebody shouts out from the audience, they call him a heckler. And then they have pre-prepared responses for them. These Islamic are like hecklers.
And they just slammed the door in my face, right? They didn't even hold it up. It's like, I think that guy's a Muslim hater. I'm like, brother, that guy might not be a Muslim hater. That guy might just be a jerk. You know what I mean? Like, everything, you know what I mean? Everything is not like anti-Muslim.
If somebody put their hand on you, somebody put their hand on you.
Send them to the Qabristan, right?
No, I'm not worried at all. I rely on God, Allah.
On behalf of the Lifehawk team, thank you for watching this video. And for more clips and beneficial content, please subscribe to the Lifehawk channel, your #1 source for personal Islamic development.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everyone. Now you can all hear me and see me, and inshallah you'll be able to hear and see our special guest with us from the worldly famous. Is it worldwide famous? We know of it here.
So
is this another Myron?
No. This is for real now. This is not a drill.
This is not a drill. This is real life.
From the YouTube channel Smile to Jannah, we have with us Brother Zeeshan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to the Canadian Dawah Conference.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Just barakallahu feek for having me.
And I wanted to start off asking you that question again, and that is laughter the best medicine?
That's a very good question. Is laughter the best medicine? I don't think anything can be considered the best medicine.
Yes.
Unless it's got the sanction of the Prophet ﷺ, like honey or black seed or stuff like that. But it is definitely an effective form of medicine. And just like any medicine, it depends on the situation, depends on the dosage. And it depends if you've eaten before taking the medicine or not.
Yeah, that's good. No, that's very good advice. So humor can often be a good and effective tool. Do you think it's something that we can utilize more prevalently to deconstruct a lot of the Islamophobia that people are facing?
100%. 100%.
Yes.
I think humor nowadays can definitely be used. I mean, think about it. We use humor every day to diffuse really sometimes serious situations. In fact, on WhatsApp on a daily basis, you can pretty much insult somebody. But if you end the sentence with lol, suddenly it's okay. He's just having a laugh. He's just having a giggle. But that's the importance. Like people are like, lol, oh, okay, it's all right. He's just joking. Yeah, just joking. Even from a small age, it's a response of the little kids when they do something. I was just joking. It was a joke, because they don't understand how to utilize that properly. But joking, humor can be used to diffuse some serious situations. In fact, they say 60% of a person's body language is non-verbal. So even the way a person kind of comes across, come across very kind of staunch and very kind of, you've got a facial expression that looks like you're ready to do some action. So that's definitely a problem, I would say. Yeah.
So how have you utilized humor? Because when we look at some of your videos, for a lot of different YouTubers or a lot of different du'at, they always approach things in a more serious and analytical way. And, oftentimes you can't reach out to a wider audience, but a lot of times using humor, it seems you can reach more people. So what have you found effective in terms of using humor, the nuances of humor to get people to think, not just hit them with straight facts, but inshallah get them to kind of think and maybe kind of look at the ridiculousness sometimes of the positions people take?
Yeah, brother asked a very good question. I think it's a very good question.
I only ask good questions.
Brother asked a question. He says, "Is it possible to use comedy to diffuse certain situations?" I ask you if you're alive.
Yeah.
I love Dr. Saab. Much love for him. So how do I use this situation? To be honest, brother, it's just like with anything else. When we do the prophetic sunnah, we look at the companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we see a large variety of personalities. We have a large variety of people with different temperaments that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam catered for. And I think this shows us also that we are also catered within the religion. You may be somebody that is, mashallah, very helpful. You want to offer your services. You're a khadim. Yeah, you help serve others. You fit within the category of Abu Bakr radiallahu anh. If you feel like in the, you're harsh and you can be of a stronger temperament, then you fall within the category of Umar radiallahu anh, you Uthman and you Ali, and there were companions that would do comedy as well. They would tell jokes. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself told jokes on numerous occasions, because why would the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam do something if it was not that effective? So we see within the kind of prophetic sphere of things, and also we see it today in the world that we live in. You've got comedians like George Carlin and even the latest comedians like Dave Chappelle, who have definitely used the kind of comedy arena on a mainstream kind of stage. But also you've seen comedy flourish amongst the likes of Russell Brands and the Daily Show, Trevor Noah. So definitely to take it, because to be honest, people, especially with COVID and everything and rise of mental health problems, people don't want to constantly be bombarded with seriousness. Oh, doom and gloom, this is going to happen, that's going to happen. So it's good to mix things up sometimes. So of course we get cheesed off with Islamophobia. Yeah, but you can use the opponent's weight against them. And how do you do that? Disarming them. A bully, when he bullies somebody, what he wants is a reaction. You give him that reaction, he thrives off that reaction. However, when you laugh with him or you give him a comedic comeback, it disarms him. Like it makes him ashamed in front of his friends, and he's less likely to pick on you next time. Yeah, so it's the same with Islamophobes. If you act all timid and this and that, but if you're confident and you give a response that's both humorous and you get your point across, it's very effective. It shows that, mashallah, it actually shows strength to bring strength to the religion. That's in essence what you're doing. I think it's a very good tool if it's used properly, and that's what I do. Stuff that I've noticed, sometimes you do feel helpless. Like all of this stuff happening, what can I do? And I do get messages. You can do whatever's in your capacity. Yeah, just like companions. They had different personalities and they did whatever they were good at. Some people, they may be good at writing. Some people, they may be good at acting. Some people, they may be good at presenting, like yourself. Some people, they may be good at just serving others, engaging in conversations or arranging events. So play to your strengths. That's what the Prophet did with Umar radiallahu anh. He was harsh. The Prophet directed that harshness and he channeled it in the right direction. And we have a lot of brothers. And it's a shame that we don't necessarily utilize that, and I hope we will. Just today, I was the brother Jordan M. He's also started comedy. So alhamdulillah, there's definitely a niche. As long as we follow guidelines by Sharia, there should be barakah and blessings in it. It's just that it's the same message, packaged differently.
There are 2 points that you touched upon that I want to delve into. One is that it has a good, like when you deal with so much Islamophobia and negativity and hate and whatnot, it does become a very effective tool to be able to find reasons to smile. Oftentimes as Muslims, we have few and far between reasons to smile. So that really, I think, has a profound effect on the mental health of people, because they take things way too seriously. I remember a brother saying that, oh, I was walking and I was following a person to a building, and they just slammed the door in my face. Right? They didn't even hold it up. It's like, I think that guy's a Muslim hater. I'm like, brother, that guy might not be a Muslim hater. That guy might just be a jerk. You know what I mean? Like, everything, you know what I mean? Everything is not like anti-Muslim. There are people who don't have manners and are rude and don't care about other people, right? So it has a profound, like, if you can find a reason to laugh, even in like the darkest moments.
You've made a very good point. Yeah. I think that's very powerful. And motivational speakers say this as well. They say, rather than blaming others, when you start blaming people, you're taking control away from yourself, because you now put that burden on somebody else. You can't change that. Therefore, it's off your hands. That's we want that. You want to take that. Like, what can I do? Because when you look into yourself, you can improve yourself. That's within your control. So that's a very, very good advice that you gave to the brother. Sorry to interject.
Oh, no. It's anytime. You interject as often as you want. So the other thing is, brother, like you mentioned limits, and I want to kind of delve into that, because one thing that I like about you, because growing up, I've seen a lot of different Muslim comedians, quote unquote, or humorists, and sometimes these guys, just to get a laugh, there's no limits, you know what I mean, or they'll kind of go into areas where they shouldn't be going, and it's a little bit counterproductive, and you might be getting into areas where you're doing more damage or harm than good. So how have you transversed, that territory, not going beyond the limits, and why is that important to have limits?
That's a very good question, bro. And the thing is, the people that may be watching, they'll be aware of these YouTubers or comedians. You see them eventually, they hit a wall. Yeah, because if your sole purpose, your sole aim is just entertainment, eventually that's not enough for you. Yeah, you seem like you're wasting your life. You're not really achieving anything. But our goal is, we are the vicegerents of Allah. So if we're doing something, our aim is the pleasure of Allah. Yeah, and ultimately we know that that's where we will attain success. I mean, to be fair, I'll be real with you. I mean, if Islam wasn't the way, I would be sitting here staring at my camera and pretending to laugh at your jokes. You know what I'm saying? I'm joking. Good jokes. But it's Islam. Like, that's why you're there. That's why you're putting up with me and my bluntness as well. It's because we know it's the truth. We know Islam is the light, and that's why when you're doing dawah, when you're trying to utilize that light, there is Allah's pleasure that we're seeking. So if you're doing dawah and you're bringing people close, or you're trying to help somebody, but it's done in a counterproductive way, it's gonna have a negative effect, because you're not following the correct instructions. It's like buying a cupboard from IKEA. You put one screw in the wrong place. Yeah, you might be able to go forward 2-3 places, but ultimately that shelf is not going to be made. So if we go and we follow the kind of wrong methodologies, we may get temporary success, but ultimately we're going to have to undo that stuff because we didn't follow the correct instructions. So not lying, and not mocking, not transgressing by using music or free mix videos and showing stuff like that. And a lot of these people, whether it's KSI or PewDiePie, a lot of these people are turning towards spirituality. And to check on my channel, I have case studies of these individuals, whether they're rappers or pop stars or something. Eventually it does get to them that, you know what, something's not right. Yeah, we're doing something wrong. So for inner peace, for the sake of your inner peace, for the sake of you making the most of your life and doing things the correct and proper way, it's a no-brainer. Like, why would you go against the prescribed path? It doesn't make sense. I'd love to hear why somebody would do that.
Yeah. Do you have people advising you, like to kind of keep you in check?
Oh yeah, to be honest, this is one thing that I say as well, that the early years of a person's life, especially if you want to get into YouTubing and stuff like that, you have to spend time with the ulama. You have to be sitting with them, serving them, learning from them, because when you get to that stage where you are in the public sphere, like small things will be noticed of you. Yeah, and whether you be a role model or not, that's how people will take you. So you do have to be very careful, and that early knowledge is very, very important. So alhamdulillah, we do make shura, and shura is from the Quran. And the Prophet ﷺ would make shura with the companions. So I mean, even if it comes to stuff that we're doing, so it's very important to make shura. Even if it is a decision that you guys are making at home, might be something small, do it with your mom and your dad, do it with your brother and your sister. Even if they're smaller than your brother's younger than you, or your parents who feel like they don't understand you, or whatever it may be, they'll be able to give you a different perspective, and that consultation will have barakah in it. Anything that's Quran, it's there as a guidance for us. So yeah, alhamdulillah, I have to. It's certain things that I'm unsure of. Yeah, you have to consult, you ask other brothers that are in the field.
So what is some of the, you could say, strangest or funniest Islamophobia that you've experienced? You know, sometimes Islamophobia can be, you know, awkward or funny. Like I had a coworker in my younger days, you know, come up to me. He's like, "Oh, you're Muslim. You guys have to marry 4 wives, right?" As if it's like a ruling. We have to marry, you know, 4 wives. It's like, yeah, man, I'm
already on my 3rd, you know. I'll invite you to the 4th one, right?
But what's the funniest kind of incident that you've encountered?
The funniest incident is, to be honest, I would say they're all funny. They're all hilarious. They're all hilariously ignorant. No actually stands up, because online it's just a sea of foolishness. You just get people that are keyboard warriors, and they'll just say anything. They'll confuse the word Muslim with Islam. They'll assume all sorts of things, and yeah, I'd say a lot of stuff. Is there anything in particular where it was? I don't know. It's not particularly funny, but anytime I used to leave my house, there used to be somebody who lives on the same road, and he would just give me evils. You know, it just happened a couple of times, and he looked a bit big, and I thought, you know what, let's just disarm him by, you know, saying the first hello. And then all right. And then it's now been like 4 or 5 years. Anytime I see him, we share that thing, all right, and he smiles and goes, all right. And I guess that's what it was. It was just disarming him, because he was unsure. Are these people allowed to greet us? Are they allowed to shake our hands? You know, they want to kill us, mate. And when you know that you're just the average guy, just going to work, just coming back, and they say that even in psychology as well, that if a person has had an interaction with a certain group, their perception of that changes. But if people don't have an interaction with a certain group, then of course the amygdala starts flashing, and you get all sorts of negative thoughts, and the frontal cortex doesn't balance it out, you see.
I find one of the biggest emotions that you flip in people who, you know, sometimes are Islamophobic, is that you're able to flip that fear. I think fear is the cause for a lot of what people do.
And when you're able to use humor, it just flips it. I'm not afraid anymore. You made me laugh.
It's that as well. But one thing that I've also seen, bro, is they say, like when you're in a confrontation, emotion will get you nowhere. In fact, even in self-defense, they say when a person's angry, blood has shifted from the front of the brain, so that you could even say that the person's not even fully in their senses. Yes, you do that and you make an emotional thing, that's when we normally regret. You had an argument with your parent or whatnot, and then you come back to your room, you're like, I shouldn't have done that. Yes, in that situation, when you get emotional, you become vulnerable now. You become vulnerable because it's a confrontation now. You're not going to be think straight. However, if you just put the emotion to the side, or you diffuse the situation with a joke or something, again, it shows that you're a chill person. You know, just smiling, releases endorphins, and a smile is contagious. That's why the Prophet ﷺ asked us to smile and spread smile and smile at each other as well, because when you smile, automatically, they say psychologically, the other person returns a smile. If I tell you to smile for 10 seconds, then I say stop, you're not going to be able to stop, because now it's just you're used to it. So these sorts of things, even psychologically, play a big difference. You know, being sharp, not allowing emotion to take, because when you get emotional, you say something. Now with social media, somebody takes a little video, this is the religion of peace. This is the religion of peace you're saying.
Exposed on TMZ.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what happens. So don't give them these situations. Wherever you are, just be cognizant of your surroundings, because people will just whip out the phone and this happens and that. So be in control. Them insulting Islam, like there was one video where the people are ripping up the Quran on the screen. I was livid. There's two ex-Muslims and one Christian ripping the Quran. People can see it on my channel. Not even dignify the person with their name, ripping the Quran. Now we could go and say, it's wrong, this is this is that. But just like in self-defense, you use the opponent's weight against them. They're coming with negativity, no problem. We'll switch that negativity and we'll give that back to you, and we'll give you some, we'll put a bow tie on it so you can take that for yourself. And how do we do that? In that video, I had the Bible. And then I said, I can do the same to the Bible, but I'm not going to. We're taught to respect your books. A lot of people appreciated that. Because if we claim to have the message, the true message, I'm sorry, it should be reflective from our reactions. It should be reflective from us. Them insulting Islam won't make Islam bad. Take it easy, relax. The weight of Islam is not on yours and my shoulders. So take it easy, relax. Even if you do a little, a little quip, or somebody says, are you Bin Laden, mate? And you say, is Bin Laden dead? You work for Al Qaeda. Like, I work for Al Qaeda and I'm walking around. So why isn't the Secret Service here? You're saying you got more intel than the Secret Service, mate. You're in the profession, Dave. And what are you talking about? Exactly, Dave. What are you talking about? So, I mean, I think it does sometimes. People who react, I would say, even with bullies, or at home with siblings and parents, just sometimes when somebody comes looking for an argument and you just do a joke or you just divert the situation, I think it's a very good way of taking control away from that person. Don't give them control by reacting to them. I think that's very good advice. It helps with Islamophobes. It helps even in our homes when it comes to certain people that like to ignite and look for fights as well. So I think it's generally.
I think that's you're absolutely correct. Like, you can take that in absolutely any interaction, to trying to find a way to either diffuse it or change the level. You know what I mean? Like, even in fighting, if you're not good with the stand up, okay, just change the level. Okay, go down to the ground. Go, for wrestling or something. So I think it's a very good way of just kind of changing, and it's sometimes by doing that. And I find some of the best humor sometimes is just to like completely immerse yourself and go into the person's argument or their opinion to sometimes show how ridiculous it is. It's like, yeah, you're right. I am, this person that you're making out to be. So you're like, and I do this, and I'm thinking all the time about bad things.
So they realize how ridiculous it is, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then they realize, hey, wait a minute,
Yeah, that's a very good point. It actually reminds me, back in the days when people had problems with each other, they would just fight in the street. They would get their sword out. They would have a scuffle. Martial arts, these Yip Mans, and they would just fight on the street and with their martial art style. Nowadays, we don't do that. It's verbal battles. But now the issue is, how do you equip yourself with verbal? I mean, these politicians, they have public relations individuals that are there, that are checking their speech, how to spin the next story. That's art now. The art is how you use your words. And that's very important. And any speech that's happening, the politician will try to make people laugh. Why? Because it's an emotional roller coaster. You get them thinking serious, you crack a little joke in there as well. You're taking them on an emotional roller coaster. But the issue comes if we're not reading. Yeah, we're constantly watching stuff. Yeah, increase your vocabulary. Yeah, have these little debates and discussions at home. Get your kids used to this. If our kids can't even speak in front of our classroom, how are they going to spread this glorious message? Of course, they're going to then get, if somebody says, oh, your prophet is this, and the kid doesn't know how to articulately respond, oh, you shut up. Then that just becomes like an emotional weak response, and it just turns into a fight. There you go. This is the religion of peace, as it were. But if you equip, if you arm yourself, you practice. Just like we were doing a bit of gaming, you have to learn, even in tech, and you have to learn the moves and everything. It's the same thing. Sometimes on YouTube, you see a debate or discussion taking place. You're like, I like the way he twisted that. I like those words. Write it down in your little notebook. Yeah, try to learn a word a day or a word every 2 days, or even if it's a word a week. Yeah, it's important that we understand what we're dealing with. Yeah, and sometimes I think, and that's what comedians do. They have a concept that when somebody shouts out from the audience, they call him a heckler, and then they have pre-prepared responses for them. These Islamists are like hecklers. Prepare your responses. Arm yourself, because other people will rely on your reaction to that. I'm not saying be a doormat. Don't get me wrong. If it's like Malcolm X said, look, law-abiding, be merciful, be kind, don't look for trouble. If somebody put their hand on you, somebody put their hand on you.
Send them to the Qabristan, right?
Yeah, that's it. Now, I'm not saying that, but we understand the message.
We understand.
Don't be a doormat. Don't be a doormat. If your family is there, we're not promoting this. Somebody slaps your right cheek, show them the left cheek. They're like our brethren. But we think that if the time comes, by all means, you need to be able to defend yourself. But in most occasions, it's like, especially for the sisters, I would say, learning self-defense is vital nowadays. It just goes with, because statistically speaking, they are targeted for Islamophobic attacks. But when it comes to, we definitely need to be, sharpening our tongues and trying this back and forth and really exploring and meeting out what the issues are, rather than debating about frivolous issues about whether this is a difference of opinion. I mean, 85% of the religion, there's no difference of opinion. 15% is, we seem to magnify and really flesh out that 15%. So we really do look at what's common and understand what we're dealing with, rather than talking about frivolous issues. I think we could do a lot of benefit, to be honest.
Do you see that? Like, do you see the situation, especially social media, which is oftentimes designed to foster conflict? Do you see a maturation in like the Muslim community, especially that's active on social media, or do you see it getting worse?
To be honest, with the more social media becomes accessible to people of any age, like for example, you had the Twitters. Now Twitters are mostly for middle-aged, etc. Facebook again, but then your Snapchat came out. That was for a lower age bracket. Secondary school kids could use that. Now you got TikTok coming out. Primary school are able. So there's more platforms that are allowing people that haven't yet understood their own existence. They haven't understood their own, and they're being allowed to masquerade behind a username and just leave any comment. It's up to the people to kind of filter that and not take that to heart. And that's one thing, that anybody can message anything and hide behind a username. Behind the guise of a keyboard warrior. So on the one hand, you've got keyboard warriors. On the other hand, you've got people with their internal conflicts at home, because they can't communicate and they can't speak to the other person. They will then project it on somebody that they feel is there, and they don't have to deal with the consequence, and they just write mean comments. Sometimes that's literally what it is. Somebody's had a bad day. It's like one individual. One day he's had a bad day, the other day he's had a good day. Send them the same email. You see totally different responses. It does our day and what we're doing. It does affect us. That's what they say. Even in great, the weather is normally gloomy and dull. It does affect us. I'm telling you, as a resident, I'm born and bred here, that when it's a sunny day, it does affect you psychologically. That's what they're saying. Italians, you know, they're bubbly and you got the sun out and it's very nice. But hey, and you bump into somebody in the tube. Oh, what are you doing, mate? Don't watch where you're going. Yeah, that's the reaction. So, yeah, I guess us being on social media, and you have to understand, a username doesn't tell you where you're from. A username doesn't tell you what level of Islam you're on. A username doesn't tell you the situation and problem you've been facing that day. So just because you've seen a comment, take it easy, calm down. Yeah, you may be dealing with dawah in Canada, the UK, the US, but these people might be from the Middle East or from Asia, where Islam is seen as somewhat more established and their way of dealing with dawah is different. So when they see our work, they're like, Astaghfirullah, brother, what are you doing? This is not right. No problem, brother. You know, may Allah bless you. Enjoy your day. Yeah. If he's to constructive criticism, you take that. Okay, my video is a bit blurry. I can fix the lens, no problem. But if he says you're a mug, yeah, you're a moron. Well, clearly, I'm not a moron. So that's not really productive advice. So sometimes we do kind of make mountains out of molehills, but it's just the accessibility of social media and the rise of mental health that people feel that they can just dump on other people.
Yeah. And I feel that people, they often behave on social media in a way that they would never behave in real life. You know, I remember seeing a brother who, like, on social media would have like such a ferocious attitude against anybody that, you know, contradicted his opinion. You know what I mean? But then I saw him in real life. I actually met this brother. He was in another city. Ended up meeting him in person. And he was like the most kind of jolly, timid fellow that you would ever meet. And I'm like, this is the same guy that on
social media is like, we are Venom. And then like in real life,
he's like, Assalamu alaikum, brother. Like, he barely gets the salam out, right? I'm like,
it's like two different, you know, people. So
you don't get, I think, the authentic representation oftentimes of yourself, you know, on social media or in terms of interactions. I think it can be very deceptive for people, you know, and that's why you see people take, you know, they magnify their what they're portrayed on in social media, and they become depressed or suicidal or any of these different things, you know. So no, I think you make some very important points, and I really appreciate what you're doing because, you know, as we mentioned, the dawah is dynamic. Everyone has something to bring to the table. And any talent that a person has, an individual has, if they utilize it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah puts a blessing in it. There's special barakah that's given to that can only be done if it's used for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
That's the only way that blessing can be present.
So what you're doing, I fully applaud you, and I encourage you to continue on that path, inshallah. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow you to benefit more and more people, inshallah. So it was great having you on. Before you leave, again, another very serious question. Are you hashtag team Meghan and Harry, or are you hashtag Queen Mother?
I personally, I don't think they are loggerheads. What the people are mistaking is that Meghan and Harry, they're assuming that Meghan and Harry have an issue with the Queen, but they've never actually said that. They've never said we've got with the Queen. Yeah, they've said we've got an issue with the firm. We've got the issue with the establishment. This is a misconception there, brother. Brother asked a very good question. It was not a good question.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, I'm pro Harry and Meghan, to be honest. Because when it comes to the firm and the establishment working behind the curtains and these guys, stuff that she said, we know that there's endemic racism, institutionalized racism. Yeah. You've got Prince Harry, you know, the pictures of him in the past with the swastika and the Queen doing a salute. These are front page. This was a big debate in the UK. And there's some issues. But yeah, what about you?
Huh? Well, I've got to go with you know, hashtag Team Meghan. She's Canadian, right? Or she was in Canada for
for 9 years,
Yes.
right? So I gotta, yeah, I have to go with that. I just
So
felt,
you side with the truth, brother. Yeah, you side with the person that's local to you.
yeah, yeah.
Not the way,
Oh,
brother.
I was thinking like, what an awkward conversation to have. Like, who says that, in the year 2021, what colors the baby's going to be? You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know if you heard that part of the interview.
I did, yeah.
yeah, you know what I mean? Like, who is the guy asking like, oh, I was just looking at my color palette here and I was wondering what do you think the color is going to turn? You know what I mean? Like, that's such a bizarre conversation. Like, how does a person answer that? You know what I mean?
You know why that person's gonna be even more disappointed. Like all of this issues happened, worldwide about them asking about the color of the baby, and he still didn't know his answer.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
He's like, so, like, can you answer it now? Because you're cheesed off, but I still want to know. I'm curious.
Yeah, exactly. All right, brother. It was good to have you
back
on.
to this, brother. Priorities, isn't it?
Yeah, priorities, and it's one of those things that there is a lot of ridiculousness. There's a lot of hate out there, whether it's racism, whether it's Islamophobia, and as Muslims, as you mentioned, the whole idea is to take whatever situation we're given, and we make that better. I think that our presence, our actions should make whatever situation we endure, we make it better. Even people, when they see the suffering that Muslims go through, just witnessing how we can make every situation, better is a powerful effect. And, definitely, humor is one way to do that. Smiling in the face of adversity is one way to do that. And, I think if we as a community can appreciate that, we should actually be grateful for the talents that we have and stop focusing on the differences or the liabilities or the shortcomings of people, will be far greater for it. Will be far more powerful, inshallah. All right. JazakumAllahu Khairan, brother, for your time and being patient with the time modifications with this new format. It's a lot of getting used to for the technical team. So thank you for being patient with everything.
Wa iyyak, my brother. Wa iyyak, it was a pleasure. Jazakallah for having me.
Wa alaikum jazakumullahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Do I feel that the New York police are providing enough protection, or do I have to have protection of my own? I look for protection from Allah.